Welcome back to AWA, episode 9, and it is the pay-per-view. It's risky business. Hopefully we'll bring in people for their weekly shows as a result of putting this show onto YouTube. We've got a bit of news though before we get into the pay-per-view. Peggy Lee has announced she is going to retire from all in-ring competition in the next 3 months, so that's something to bear in mind. We obviously haven't got the biggest women's division already, so we're going to have to look to bring in some people in the near future. I have got someone already waiting to come in soon, so you'll see her be probably debuting tonight on the pay-per-view as a result of this news. But nonetheless, thanks to Peggy Lee for her time in AWA, and we'll hopefully give her a good send-off in the next few months. We brought you the news about Phantasma's injury last episode, I believe, so that's not something to worry about. He'll be back by next month for that one. So, as I mentioned, we got that news about the YouTube deal, so I'll bring you that now. So, broadcasting, we've got a deal with YouTube Europe to stream this pay-per-view coming up. We got one event set to go with them, with a minimum rating they want is 22, so hopefully we'll reach that from this as we look to push our show a bit out there into Europe. Obviously, as you can see, the coverage is big across the whole of Europe, so hopefully that'll give us a bit of a boost in the viewership going forward. So without further ado, let's get into our first pay-per-view, Risky Business. We're just a few days away from the pay-per-view, but I thought I'd come back to show you this. Kenny Omega has defeated Jon Moxley and Brody Lee in a triple threat match to become the new AEW World Champion on their weekly episode of Wednesday Night Dynamite. I thought that would be interesting to a lot of people who are into TEW. Kenny Omega finally picking up the big title in the new company in America. And it is certainly long overdue for a wrestler who was on the top in Japan. So without further ado, hopefully if there's no more news to come before the day, we'll get into Risky Business. This is the big one, Risky Business. And we are beginning it by looking back at the AWA Tag Team Tournament that we started way back now, with the Midlands Wrecking Crew defeating Phantasma and Monty Bird in the first quarter final. Then the Billington Bulldogs beat Tony Pacino and Connie Steele. Blue Strike Force defeated the Dogs of War. And the Night Terrors defeated Triple B and the Funk. Then we went into the semi-final matches where the Midlands Wrecking Crew, Johnny Rose and Bully Boy Carter defeated the Billington Bulldogs to get their place in the final. And then Dan Stryker and Blue Tiger, also known as Blue Strike Force, defeated the Night Terrors to get their place in the final as well.
Hello everyone, Johnny Rose here. Check this out on Virtually AWA. Tag Team Tournament Final. Myself and my tag team partner Bully Boy Carter taking on the team of Dan Stryker and Blue Tiger. We've already beaten Phantasmo and Monty Bird. We've already beaten the Billington Bulldogs, and now it's final time. Check it out, you'll love it.
And that's where we're kicking off the pay-per-view with the Tag Team Tournament title match, and it is next. In a decent match, Blue Strike Force defeated the Midlands Wrecking Crew in 14:46 when Dan Stryker pinned Johnny Rose. Blue Strike Force have won the AWA Tag Team Championship titles. And this kicks off the show with a strong start, and the crowd are hot for this one. 23 rating overall, Blue Tiger 24, Dan Stryker 22, Bully Boy 23 and Johnny Rose 22. This is a great way to end the storyline, the tag team tournament, and you have your new tag team champions, Blue Strike Force. As Blue Strike Force return to the back after winning the titles, a video comes up on the screen showing the debut of a new wrestler here in AWA, and this is the video. As you saw in the video, P.T. Crockett is down and he introduces our new signing, Alex Windsor, She comes out to make her first appearance as the new signing here in AWA. She gets a rating of 18 for this segment, not too bad. And she gets her debut match here on the pay-per-view, and she gets decent reaction from the crowd as she defeats Peggy Lee in 6 minutes and 49 seconds via submission. She gets a rating of 14, Peggy Lee gets an 18. They didn't seem to click well at all, which is disappointment in their first matchup, but it gets a segment rating of 16 for this one. The crowd are still hot, fortunately, and Alex Windsor is getting better at her gimmick, which is old school face. Next up, Lacey James is in the back with the microphone. She is talking about what happened last week on the show. Renegade costing her match against Rio, which set up this title match tonight. She is not happy with what they did, and she explains that she will, one way or the other, leave tonight with the championship, and no one's going to get in her way. This segment gets a rating of 17 and advances the storyline for the title. And next in a decent match then, Lacey James defeats Rio in 8 minutes and 28 seconds by pinfall with a twist of hate. Lacey James makes defense number 2 of the AWA Women's Championship title. As you can see, Alex Windsor comes and makes the save. Wait, hang on. I've made a mistake here. It happens when you're booking this show. Ignore that Killer Kelly is not there. That's supposed to be Rio. I must have clicked on the wrong one by accident. Apologies for everyone. So I'll read it as it's meant to be intended. Lacey James is being attacked 3-on-1 after the win in this match. And not Killer Kelly, sorry. Rio, Soul Killer and Hydrosis Renegade are in the ring trying to beat her up. As she's getting beaten down in the corner, Alex Windsor's music gets hit. She runs down from the back and helps fight off them and save Lacey James from the beatdown. And both of them hold each other aloft in the ring as the cowards, the heels, run off towards the back. Lacey James and Alex Windsor in the ring standing tall. This segment gets a rating of 13 as the show develops. Next up, we have a match between Mike Cash and Monty Bird. Mike Cash has not been trying to defend his title, but he's been forced to tonight against Monty Bird. Monty Bird trying to get revenge for his friends Phantasmo and, of course, Bam Bam Booyah after they were attacked by mystery opponents in the back a week or so ago. Mike Cash was seen to be on the phone, as if you can remember, on the phone ordering the hit on them. And Mike Cash, fortunately for him, picks up the win against Monty Bird by submission hold and retains his AWA YouTube Championship title with a rating of 24. 25 from Cash, and Bird gets a 24. Decent match between the two of them. And then in a surprise turn of events, Phantasmo manages to make a return, surprising the crowd, comes from out of nowhere and chases Mike Cash off. Mike Cash runs for high ground. He didn't expect Phantasmo to be back so soon, and this gets a rating of 13. Phantasmo's back and looking to get his hands on Mike Cash. Next up, we go backstage once again, and Nick Flagg is speaking to our interviewer. I might have cheated last time. Tonight, it's going to be no different in terms of the result, though. This time, I'm going to do things the right way. I'm going to beat Chris Cage in the cage. And I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to do things the right way because I am clearly the better wrestler. And to beat the man, you've got to beat the man. And I'm going to beat the modern day Savage tonight. This gets a segment rating of 22. The crowd are looking forward to this match, and it is next, I believe. And it is. And in a decent match, Nick Flagg defeats Chris Cage in a cage match in 14:55 by pinfall. Nick Flagg makes defense number 3 of his AWA Commonwealth Championship title. This gets a rating of 23. Nick Flagg gets a 21, Chris Cage 24. The storyline advances with this segment and gained heat. Nick Flagg was off his game but still picked up a 21. That's respectable for our champion here. This is an absolute classic of a cage match. They go back and forth, and finally Nick Flagg hits Eat Defeat and pins Chris Cage in the centre of the cage to get the victory and retain his championship. Next up, a video we have of Foxcatcher talking about his upcoming match with Lewis Blain in the main event for the British Championship.
Hello there! I am the Foxcatcher David Toro. What? Saying hello and greetings from the master of beatings. That's right. And I would like to send out a little message to you, Lewis Blain, for our forthcoming British title match. You might be a living legend and you might have experience on your side, but I, Foxcatcher, have the youth. I also have experience, and I also am the master of the hunt, the caviar artist of the squared circle, and I want to make sure that I will give you a bleeding good match. Old fellow, dear chum, good show, see you in the ring. What?
And then finally now in our main event, in a decent match, Foxcatcher defeats Lewis Blain in 19 minutes and 58 seconds by 2 straight falls, with the final fall happening by pinfall in the final round of this contest. Foxcatcher wins the British Championship title, holds it aloft, and ends our show with the face of the company, Foxcatcher, finally on top of the mountain. He has finally picked up this British Championship, his first time holding this belt. He's held most other belts in this company, but the British title had eluded him until this point. And the match was a bit long for the audience, but nonetheless it was a good match. 22 for Foxcatcher, 18 for Lewis Blain, 18 overall. And we send the crowd home happy with Foxcatcher lifting the title high above his head and Lewis Blain looking disbelieving at what's just happened. Risky Business finishes, Foxcatcher wins, and that is our show. The show gets a 20 overall. The show increased our popularity in 14 regions. So to sum up then, Blue Strike Force are our new tag team champions, taking the vacated belts after the tournament comes to the conclusion. Alex Windsor debuts on the show. Lacey James retains her women's title. Mike Cash retains his YouTube championship. Nick Flagg retains the Commonwealth Championship, the top title. And ending the show, Foxcatcher, our new British champion. I hope you've enjoyed the pay-per-view. Hope you've enjoyed the series so far. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode as we continue this series. So, AWA, thank you very much for watching.